Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. We are back again with another live stream to talk about Calafiori. Let me know how you guys are doing this. Today's Friday, right? This Friday, let me know how you're doing. Let's get straight into today's news without wasting time at all. There's a lot of updates from like 6 different journalists, so you're going to go through them all, talking about Calafiori and players that could end up leaving after Calafiori comes in. So let's start with Fabrizio Romano's update on Calafiori. So this is what is hard to say about Calafiori. Arsenal have agreed terms of Riccardo Calafiori's contract are valid until June 2029. Arsenal and Bologna are discussing over a fee as request remains around 50 million euros. FC Basel would receive 50% of the sale over 4.5 million euro. They are also aware of talks ongoing, nothing sealed yet. So personally, I'm expecting this deal to progress very, very quickly by the weekend, as we've heard from other reporters. This weekend, we could hear, here we go, by this weekend. I think this one is going to be done very quickly. It's easier because I know Arteta really wants the player, and I know the player potentially really wants to join Arsenal. And, you know, for a defender and a player who's going to fit into Arteta's system right away, I am sure you're going to get it done by this weekend. You're going to hear, here we go. I don't expect Chelsea to come in for him. I don't think that there's a need for them to make a bid because Calafiori is going to choose Arsenal or has already chosen Arsenal. So I don't think there's a need for them to make a bid. Juventus already out. Leverkusen are still there, but I don't think they're going to come in for him. The only thing they have with us is like Champions League and all that. But if the player wants to come to the Premier League, it's between us and Chelsea. And I've also heard from Chelsea insiders saying, yeah, they're expecting him to go to Arsenal. There's no he's going to choose Conference League above Champions League. That feels so good to say, no? 4 years ago, they were the ones who used to say such things about us. But now that the fact that we're in the Champions League, we're expecting the player to choose Arsenal. And I'm sure Arsenal will progress very quickly in terms of agreeing a fee with Bologna. But there's a lot in terms of the fee. We're going to go through a lot in this one in terms of the fee. It's not just the fee, the 50 million euros. We have to know how much we're going to pay them. Is it straight away cash, 50 million euros? Are we going to pay in installments? How many installments? How much are we going to pay upfront? There is a lot to go about. So this is what Fabrizio had to say. Also, Bologna discussing over fee as request remains 50 million euros. So let's go to the next update. This is from Core Sport. I always have a problem mentioning the full name, but they've had to say Bologna received a formal offer from Arsenal for Riccardo Calafiori last night. The monster offer includes achievable bonuses, with Arsenal hopeful for a rapid conclusion. Calafiori already has a general agreement on a 4-year contract worth 4 million euros per year. So there's a monster offer, including achievable bonuses. So listen, last time when you're trying to get Declan Rice, they said you were trying to add bonuses that you couldn't achieve, like things like winning the Champions League back-to-back or something crazy like that. But for now, I think these bonuses that you've included in the contract are achievable. Let's say we say Calafiori is going to play 30-plus games. I'm sure he can do that. If we say we are going to maybe win the league next season or just win a trophy, any trophy, I think they feel like that is achievable next season, and Bologna would be able to take the bonuses. So I don't know if it's going to be 50 million plus the bonuses or something like, 42 million plus bonuses later on if you achieve those, whatever the bonuses include. But I am sure they're going to agree to that. We have a good relationship with Bologna. If you're working with West Ham or Newcastle, that's why like going for a player like Bruno Guimaraes or Bowen or Kudus or those players would be so difficult, because dealing with those teams would be so difficult. Same with Napoli and Tottenham and all those guys. But with Bologna, we have a very good relationship with them. The player is happy to join us, so we literally have a spot for him. I'm sure if he comes to us, he's definitely going to start as the left back. I have no doubt about that. I've watched his clips from the days he used to play for Roma at left back, and he's very good. Like in terms of going forward and putting in crosses, he's actually very good in terms of that as well. Overlapping, inverting, he can do a lot of different stuff for the team. So I see why Arteta really, really wants him. He is not only a centre back, like he can make that left back position his own. He's basically like a combination of Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, and Kivio, a player who can defend, a player who can invert, and a player who can overlap. That's incredible. I've always wanted Tomiyasu, Kivio, and Zinchenko to be one player. We have someone who can man mark, someone who can invert and make passes, and someone who can overlap and create good chances from the byline. I've always wanted that. But Calafiori is literally that. He's a combination of all of those players. So Bologna received an offer. I don't think we're going to hear about rejections and all that like we had with West Ham last summer. I don't think there's going to be any rejections and all that. I think it's maybe going to be, okay, just add this and then it's a deal, because you have a good relationship with with Bologna. So those are the first two updates from Fabrizio and CoSports. So let's go to Martin Moreto's update on the news. All of these are like Italian journalists and all of them who have an insight on what is going on. New contacts between Arsenal and Bologna in the last few hours. This is just today, like literally an hour ago. The two clubs are negotiating for an operation that is around 50 to 54 million euros. So up to the 54 million euros could be the bonuses. So absolutely no problem. The part linked to bonuses is yet to be defined in detail. So yeah, in terms of the bonuses, we are currently guessing, but it could be, one of 5-6 things, how many games is going to play, if you're going to win a trophy, I don't know, clean sheets. If we keep like 15 clean sheets, is it Bologna going to get a bonus and all that? If we get to like the quarterfinal of the Champions League again, is he going to get a bonus? We don't know which bonuses have been included yet, but I am sure we will know very, very soon. And I'm sure Bologna will accept. They already know the player is going to leave. They already accepted the player is going to leave. Usually working with teams like Leipzig, where Sesko is not sure he's going to go or not, and other teams where the players, still thinking about staying, like Zubimendi or Nico Williams. It's difficult, but with a player like Calafiori, who's okay with leaving and is already just waiting for things to be finalized and move on, the deal is easier. So I wish you could be like this with every single deal, like very, very easy, a couple of days and we get it done. That would be great, but you have to do negotiations. I'm sure if you go and give Bologna 70 million right now, the player would be asked by tonight, but you can't do that. You have to negotiate, especially if like we are the only team right now negotiating with him. I think it's a bit of being comfortable. We know that the player is going to join Arsenal. Let's just finalize all the details. I would like to be in one of those meetings where they try to finalize bonuses and additions and structure of payment and all that. I'd like to be in one of those meetings to just see how they do it, because it's very complicated. I'm sure if one of us goes there, like, we'd be so confused on how to talk and how to break it down with them. But that's from Martin Moreto. Saying new contracts have been made over the last few hours. I am sure by this weekend we'll hear a breakthrough, and then we'll hear here we go, and then after that we just be waiting for the medical and things like that. So this is very exciting. Our first official signing, our second signing of the transfer window, is happening very, very soon. So that is from Martin Moreto saying the bonuses have not yet been announced, but the bonuses are going to be included. Next up is from team news and ticks. So why are we signing the player? Does it actually like the player? Because I've had people saying, are we just signing this player because of the Euros? Because we've just seen him for 3 games. Now, for me, I can't lie to you. I watched Bologna like 2 times last season, 2-3 times last season, but I was not keeping an eye on Calafiori. I was keeping an eye on Zaxi. That is why I was watching the Bologna games. So I'll be lying to you if I told you I'd follow Calafiori. But the team and the scouts and all that, I am sure, especially if they were looking for a left back throughout the year, which I'm sure they were, especially with rumors about Kivia potentially leaving, Zinchenko potentially leaving, I'm sure they'd be looking at left backs. I'm sure they've come across the player and they've looked at him for a couple of months, and then now they've probably decided to get him. So this is what Team News and Ticks had to say about Arteta, and Arteta being a fan of Calafiori. Arteta is a big fan of profiles. Calafiori wasn't on the initial list of targets, but is basically the same, the exact same profile as the 3 players that were on the list: Murillo, Branthwaite, and Hatu. So as I've always said, I don't want defenders. I want us to get a striker, midfield, and a winger. But if a very, very good defender becomes available, a young defender who you can't let go to any other team because you feel like, they're going to be really good in the next couple of years, there's no problem with taking advantage of that. Even if it means you sign them and then you send them back on loan to the same team like we did with Saliba, whatever. You just sign the player because, we don't want to be good for 1 or 2 years. Even if we win the league next season, we don't want that to be it. We want to, do it for 5-6 years at least. There's obviously a time that's going to come that you're going to drop off for a season or 2 and then you'll need to rebuild, but you don't want to be good for just 1 season. You want to be good for numerous seasons. So the time comes where Trossard will be over 30, will not be an Arsenal player anymore. There's a time that is going to come very soon that Partey's not here, Jorginho is not in the team. They'll have gone. So we need to keep on advancing. There's players heading to 30 and they're not going to be here until they're 40. So you need to keep on rebuilding. So for players like Branthwaite, Hatu, Murillo, I hadn't had him in that list. My list was Branthwaite, Hatu, and maybe like an Inacio from Sporting. I'd have been okay with buying such kind of players. But Calafiori popped up. I'm guessing. I'm sure they'd looked at him, but they didn't know he was going to be available. That's the point. And you also have to watch players. I don't think yeah, it's not a good idea to buy players just because of one tournament. But if you have already watched the player for a different team, a club form, and all that, his club form has been really good. And then you just want to see, okay, let us see how it does in the Champions League, or let us see how it does in the AFCON or Euros or Copa America. It helps if those not if those are the only games you're looking at, but if those games are in addition to what you've already studied about the player, I think that is fair enough. So we looked at him and they realized he's available and just said, you know what, let's go and get this player. He fits the profile of the players we're looking for. Left-sided, he can play as a left back, he can play as a left central defender, he can attack, he can defend, he's good at aerial duels, he can help us in terms of defending set pieces and attacking set pieces, he can help us carry the ball from the back, he can help us play a certain formation, a back three, a back four, all that. I'm sure they've looked at all that. So Calafiori fits into that. So we've jumped on him. And also the price. The price is another thing. For him to be 50 million euros is very cheap, because I'm sure if Bologna keep him this season and he does well in the Champions League and he continues doing well for Italy, by the next 2 years, it could be 90 million. So the price that we're getting him for right now, 50 million, is kind of a bargain, because the team we're competing with, which is Man City, if you look at their defenders, Walker, 50 million, Stones, 50 million, Gvardiol, close to 100 million, Ake, 40 or something million. All of those players, Diaz, all of them, they've had to pay money for Ederson and the whole back line. And they're probably potentially going to add more expensive players in terms of the back line. I think Akanji was the cheapest, but they've paid a lot of money for their defenders. In terms of our defenders, actually, yes, we've bought a lot of defenders, but how many of them have we actually paid incredible money for? It's probably only Ben White, 50 million, because Gabriel and Saliba, I actually think, were the same price, 27 million. That's quite cheap for today's market. If you look at Zinchenko, 35 million, okay, buying a player from Man City, you expect to pay such kind of money. But no one, you get to my point. You're not going to pay, we've not paid a lot of money for the defender so far. Tomiyasu was cheaper. It's only Ben White who's 50 million. So Man City have 50 million pound players sitting on the bench, plus 100 million pound wingers sitting on the bench. Unfortunately, if you want to compete with them, you also have to have that kind of squad depth, to the point of where we are looking at our defense and you're like, okay, we have Calafiori, 50 million is on the bench today. You know, we have Zinchenko, 35 million is on the bench today. We have this one, 50 million is on the bench today. That is how it needs to be. And also for a player his age, if he does sign that 5-year contract, you can build the defense. Defense is something you can build. I remember our team, I wasn't there, but our team in the 80s and 90s, early 90s and all that, we were able to keep Tony Adams, Steve Bold, Winterburn, and Dixon and Seaman for a long time, and also Keon after that. We kept for those players for a long time, up to I think Dixon and Adams came to retire like in 2002. We kept those players for a very long time, and we were able to keep that defense solid with 1-0 to the Arsenal and all that. So if you're able to build a team and keep defense for a longer time, like even 5 years, 5 years even minimum, that is great, because that can help you win titles within those 5 years. So Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, Timber, and Ben White, all of those guys, no one is even near their prime. So if they ended up staying for a significant amount of time, we can use them in the team, and you can achieve a few things with them in the team. So that is why Ateta has been looking at Calafiori, and that is according to Team News and Ticks. Very reliable when it comes to Arsenal news. And lastly, from Gazzetta Italia, this is what they've had to say. Breaking: Riccardo Calafiori will go to Arsenal. Just that. Calafiori will go to Arsenal. Nothing more to add. Calafiori will go to Arsenal. 53 million euro transfer fee, 4 million per year salary. I think that is a great price for a player like this. That is a great price, because listen, we are not a selling team, but we also don't want to be letting players go on a free. A player like this, he comes and does well for you for 4 or 5 years, and then he wants to go, he can pocket in a good profit. You can sell him for 60, 70 million by the time he's 26 years of age, and you keep on rebuilding the team. So this is exciting. Transfers are finally happening. I know I've not checked the comments yet, but I'm sure by the way, hit the like button. I never ask for that, but hit the like button if you haven't yet. There's 112 of you on Facebook, 112 of you on YouTube, and 13 of you on X. I'm sure all of you, there's a comment there somewhere saying we need to talk about strikers. I know that, but you need to get signings as well. If Calafiori coming in means you're going to keep 25 clean sheets next season, I'm happy with that. The one thing that I really enjoyed about Arsenal last season, between January and May, we were scoring 6-0, 6-0, 5-0, 4-0, 5-0. That was great. Yes, not losing to Man City, not conceding a goal to Man City, that was great as well. All that was great. Not losing to any top 6 team, that was great as well. But the thing I really enjoyed about Arsenal so much last season, especially the last 6 months, was the fact that P teams were having one shot against us, 90 minutes, one shot. Like a team would get the ball, like Elanga would run with the ball on the right side, or Son would get the ball, or someone would get the ball. And I'd literally just turn to my phone because I'm like, yeah, they're not going to score. They're not going to score. We're definitely going to. They're not even going to have a shot, let alone score, because of how confident I was in Gabriel, how confident I was in the likes of Ben White and Rice. We were so solid. So if Calafiori comes into that and adds more to that, I am very, very happy. So Calafiori deal is edging closer. I am sure you're going to hear here we go by Sunday, and then all we have to wait for is the medical and all that. And we're actually hearing that Jorginho actually did play a significant role. So thank you to Jorginho. You know, Jorginho is like the first Chelsea player that has come to us and that people have not really minded. I think Havertz is still 50-50 with the Arsenal fan base, but Jorginho, I don't see many people complaining about him. People are like, are we signing Jorginho? Why are we signing Jorginho? But in terms of, he actually seems like he has been at Arsenal for a longer time, you know, with how he's helping us in midfield. Last season, he played a crucial role. And now he's convinced Calafiori to join Arsenal. That is great as well. But we know, I'll come to your comments. I know when Calafiori comes in, we're not probably potentially not going to have 8 defenders. That is my dream. If we have Zinchenko and Calafiori at left back, Zinchenko mainly playing as a midfielder, sometimes as a left back, and then you have Gabriel and Kiwi, and then you have Saliba and Timber, and then you have Ben White and Tomiyasu. That is solid. You can rotate in the Champions League, in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup, and whether Tomiyasu White starts, we don't care. Whether it's Saliba or Timber, Saliba getting rested, we're absolutely fine with that. That would be great. But I'm sure in terms of wages and all that and players wanting game time, I'm pretty sure one player is going to leave, and it's looking increasingly likely that it's going to be this guy. According to reports from Ryan Taylor Sport on Kivio, if Arsenal were to strike an agreement with Riccardo Calafiori, there would be further question marks surrounding the future of Jakub Kivio. Juventus are among the players' suitors. However, Arsenal will not sell Kivio on the cheap. Yeah, I love to hear that. We're not going to sell on a cheap. Now, there's players that majority of the Arsenal fan base agree need to be sold. I'm sure many people agree Nketiah needs to be sold. I'm sure many people agree Nelson needs to be sold. All the others, I think it's 50-50 or 60-40. You know, some people want Jesus to go, some people don't. Some people want Partey to go, some people don't. Some people want Smith Rowe to go, some people don't. So the ones that have a divide in terms of the fan base and the ones many people want to stay anyway, we don't have to sell. Like Smith Rowe, we don't have to sell him unless you're giving us 40 plus million of 38, 40 million there. We don't have to sell. If you're not going to pay that money, we are happy to keep him as well. We don't have to sell him really. But if it's a player that we really need to sell and stuff, then you can bargain with that other team and maybe sell him cheaper than what he wanted to initially. But for the players who don't have to sell, we don't have to. And Kivio is one of them for me. I don't feel like we have to sell Kivio unless we're getting a significant amount of money for him. If a team comes and offers us 15 million right now, that is not worth it. I'll just rather keep Kivio. He can come off the bench the last 30 minutes when you're trying to defend a lead. He can help us at left. But Kivio really helped us last season. Let's be honest. Kivio, we didn't have a left back last season. Zinchenko's injured for majority of the season. Tomiyasu's injured for majority of the season. Timber was injured for the whole season. Kivio came into that team and really helped us. Just like Ben White 2 years ago. That time Tomiyasu got injured and then we had to move Ben White as a right back. If we didn't have Ben White that season, we would have been playing Cedric at right back. Now, the fact that right now Kivio as well did the same just like Ben White, but this time on the left side. We didn't have our left backs, and Kivio, said, I can play that side. Let me play that side. Although the first time he asked for things that he wasn't comfortable at, like inverting and all that. But the moment he started overlapping, he was doing well. So he really helped us he helped our team too very much, actually. And I noticed the position that we thought he was going to play at first. So really, really happy with that. I'm happy to keep him. I don't have to sell him. For me, there's 3-4 other players I would sell, and Kivio not to be part of that for list, but it looks likely, according to Ryan Taylor Sport, that the player is going to leave. And unfortunately, you players come in and you have to let go of some others. That is just how football works. Unfortunately, that is just how football works. So let's get to your comments. That's the latest on Calafiori and Kivio. Let's see. Let's go to the top. Thank you for all your comments. Thank God Musa, interesting name. I always forget to do this. Let me put that on the screen. There you go. Let's see. Thank God Musa says, I've been waiting for you. Appreciate it. Joel says, if it's a done deal, I'm so grateful. Thanks for updating us. It's not a done deal yet, but I'm expecting it to be very, very soon. I'd say 95% done. That's only 5% remaining. It's just finalizing I'm sure they're going to accept the 50 million euros. However, you're going to do it, maybe 40 million euros plus add-ons. I'm sure they're going to agree. It's all about the structure. The player's already happy to join Arsenal. That is usually the other thing, especially if he prefers, to go to a different team and all. I'm happy with that. Ekazi says, hi, Glenn. Who will Mikel try to add in the midfield through departure of Thomas Partey? What we had is Thomas Partey does not really want to leave, and we had that is not really keen on selling him, so he still might end up staying. But if he does end up leaving, it's been quiet. I don't expect us to get players like Bruno Guimaraes, no, especially if we get a striker. Bruno Guimaraes is too expensive. It's going to be more than 100 million, so that one is not going to happen. We are still linked to players like Merino from Spain. Let's see if Spain goes out, what is going to happen with that. You're still linked to Fofana from Monaco, players like that you're still linked to. Douglas Luiz now is gone. And which other player have we linked to? Zubimendi, I don't think is going to come to the Premier League, doesn't want to. So those are a few. We've been linked to Kimmich. But I'm hearing in terms of the secret player that you're going to sign from Germany, Team News and Tick said it's not Kimmich. So I'm still thinking it could be Andrich from Leverkusen, the guy who plays as defensive midfielder from Germany. I still have a feeling it could be that guy, but you never know. It could be Sane, it could be any of those guys. Let's just wait and see. Lloyd says, my brother Glenn, I can't wait for next season. You're going to be the best defensive team in Europe. Yeah, again, I can't wait. I always look forward to these live shows. I appreciate it every day at this particular time, always. And there's usually a morning podcast. There wasn't one today, but tomorrow there will be with Cause in the morning, the usual podcast in the morning. How are you? Edu Saka, interesting name as well. How are you doing, Arke? Thank you for being here. Emily says, are we using him for left back? Yeah, I don't think Gabriel is going to be dropped. If Gabriel is dropped, I'll be very surprised. I think Gabriel was on the same level with Saliba last season, to be honest. I don't think like one of them was better than the other. I think there's a lot of things at different games. Each one of them helped us. Even in terms of just attacking set pieces, in terms of corner kicks up front, Gabriel is very dangerous. In terms of defending, Gabriel these days has become calmer. He's not as aggressive as he used to be with stupid yellow cards and silly fouls and all that. No, he's very disciplined these days. So I think it's going to still be our centre back. And obviously, you don't want to break a centre back partnership. All the teams that have won things over the past 20 years, they usually have a certain centre back partnership. If you look at Terry and Carvalho at Chelsea, they kept them for more than 4 seasons, and they were able to win trophy after trophy. Vidic and Ferdinand, they didn't have Vidic for one season, and then they sold Ferdinand the next season. No, you have to keep that centre-back partnership and also the goalkeeper consistent for a couple of seasons because they already now understand each other. You can't just change it right now. Joseph says you're on standby for that good news. Ibrahim, good evening. Kevin says this deal Arsenal should have done already with it. You're wasting a lot of time. We aren't, though. Italy were eliminated from the Euros the other day, remember? And the players on holiday anyway. So the deals are not going to take one day, Kevin. The deals have to take at least a week. It's not even been 3 days. It can't be that quickly. It's a player, especially for a player. If it's a player that is wanted by one team, then fine. But it's a player that has been wanted by like 6-7 teams as well. A promising player. We are going to get it done. I'm not worried about that one. Mokosa says, any possibilities for getting a striker? Yes, I'd say yes. Moses says, after that Calafiori deal, I like to see my club bringing in a striker and a perfect backup for Saka. I'd like to see the same. I want a midfielder first, though. I want us to get a midfielder first because, as I've always told you guys, midfield is the spine of the team. That is the engine. If your midfield is not working, you might as well not just get new tires and new windshield. If your engine is not working, there's no need. You need to have a midfielder first before you improve your car in the other parts. You have to have a midfield first. And if Partey gets injured again, we're in trouble again because last season we really had to overplay Jorginho and Rice a lot. And the moment they got tired, you didn't really have anyone else to bring on. So I would like a midfielder first and then those 2 positions that you've mentioned. Ethan says, okay, here we go. If we sign this player, guys, EP will be coming to the Emirates Stadium. I still think we need more. Good afternoon, Glenn, and all Arsenal family. So, what is taking too long to complete the deal? It isn't taking too long though, Douglas. But I'm sure by the weekend you're going to hear, here we go, something. Subscribe and smash the like button, says RK. Thank you. Thank you, Chanzera. Lookman says the channel is amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is he already a Ghana? That's the breaking waiting, the news that he's waiting for. Very soon, Leonard. Very soon. Watching you from Zambia, love the team. The Ghana, says Kelvin. Thank you. I'm very much sure you broke it down. You broke your comment down. All we need now is Bukayo Saka backup. No. We still need. I don't like using the word need, but I still want to get a striker and a midfielder. I rather get a midfield and a striker and then not get a winger. If we could only get two, I would get a midfield and a striker who can also play as a winger. But I seriously do need someone to help out Saka for sure. Striker is and should be priority. We need Gyökeres or Osimhen deal, says Leonard. Ravin says, what about Gyökeres? I was sure there was comments about strikers. I was very sure. The Gyökeres one went a bit quiet, but I'm sure you're going to get back into it. So those deals for Osimhen and Gyökeres for 100 million are not going to be easy. Remember, the Rice one took like 3 weeks to a month. I'm sure those ones are going to take the same as well. I don't think it's going to be easy. But if you're going to get them, it's going to be before preseason. Good to go. Can't wait for reinforcement in other departments, says Genny. Saliba is undroppable now, but Rodriguez is on our way for him. Nah. Forget about Madrid and Man City. Yes, Madrid and Man City are the teams that can potentially take your players because they can be in the Champions League final every season and all that. But that mentality of, oh my goodness, we're signing Calafiori, does this mean Saliba is going to Real Madrid? That means us as fans are still thinking as Arsenal from 2012 and 2013. No, we need to be thinking as we are now the team that is competing with Man City and now the team that is trying to compete with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid in the Champions League. That is how we need to be thinking. I'm sure Man City fans are not thinking, oh my goodness, Madrid can come and take Haaland. They're not bothered about that. They know Haaland is, they're on the same level, is not going to leave. We need to start thinking about the same. Saliba is not going to go anywhere. But in the next 2-3 years, if we drop off, then that is a possibility. But as of now, I don't see why they should be leaving. I don't see any reason at all. I want to use Timber at number 4, says Aminu. Timber, the good thing with Timber, he can play all those positions, 6, 3, 4, all of them. He can play any positions, but he can potentially even play as a 1 if we need him. But yeah, it could work out for him in that position. But listen, I want just those guys to focus on the defense. We have some depth on defense. I don't want anyone to be moving to different positions and all that. Instead of selling Kivio, they should sell Zinchenko, at least, says John. I don't want any of them to be sold. Arsenal should pay 45 million for the player, says Sese. Thank you for reminding me. I put a poll on YouTube asking, and if you're watching on Facebook or X, let me know. Do you think he's worth that 50 million, Calafiori? Do you think we should actually be paying more, or do you think we should be paying less? Do you think we're overpaying for him? Let me know if you're watching on the different platforms. Selling Kete, Lokonga, Tierney, Nive, Nelson. I'm okay with that. Leonard, good afternoon. Jonathan. Yes, we need to get that player. Sese says, brother, to my own point of view, we should sign a player to replace Saka because it is not going to be easy for him to back up Saka. Every time you use the word replace, it scares me. Season he needs to rest. Yes, he definitely needs to rest, especially now, especially if England win tomorrow and then they go further. Saka is now potentially going to be used as a left wing back, more work, defending, attacking. Yes, we definitely need to get someone to help him out. Kiprotich says after Calafiori, we go for Gyökeres, then Kimmich, and if possible to sign Nico Williams and you close the transfer window. That would be, imagine that. Gyökeres, Kimmich, Nico Williams, and Calafiori. That sounds so exciting, man. Those 4 in 1 transfer window, that would be the best ever transfer window for Arsenal ever. So the poll so far, there is 86% saying yes, that's the right fee for him. 7% are saying we are overpaying, and 7% are saying we should be paying more. So 86% agree that that is the kind of money you should be paying for him. How you gift midfielder, then utility player up front, I'll appreciate more. The utility player actually don't mind. If you can get a striker who can also play as a winger, that would be absolutely fine. If we had players like Salah or Mane back in their prime, those players who used to score a lot of goals, Salah Cabral and Manu, and they're together. If you could get a winger like that who can get you 30 goals, that would be really good. But if you can get a utility player who can play all those positions, that would be great. A player we can bring on the left side, you can bring on the right side, because I don't like Trossard on the right side. I don't like Martinelli on the right side. So and Nelson could leave, and I also don't really like Vieira on the right side. So we are basically just stuck with Saka on that side. So yeah, we do need someone to help him out. Thank you for all the comments. Jack says, bro, I'm asking where is Timber going to place with Calafiori. The reports that came out a couple of weeks ago was that Timber is going to be used more as a backup for Saliba and rotating with Ben White. So on the right side, not really the left side. Those are the reports that are coming out. So it could be rotation between Timber and Ben White. Remember last season, you were told that Ben White was playing with an injury for almost 2 months and he was trying to hide it because he just really loves playing for the team. So we could avoid situations like that if you have Timber there and you have Calafiori there and you have Tomiyasu there. We could avoid players playing with injuries. So I think it's going to be used on the right side more. But then again, depending on the team, depending on the opposition that we are playing and the kind of game we're expecting, whether we're expecting to win 5-0 or we are playing Man City expecting a 0-0, whatever, I think we're going to be changing like the tactics and the formation for those particular games. Frank says, looking at what is happening, I'm not sure you'll get a midfielder. If Partey stays, there's a chance, but I think they have to get a midfielder. I'm sure Tan knows that, the Partey injuries, if he gets another injury, you're doomed. I am sure Tan knows. That's the one thing that I've had being mentioned a lot, that Tan knows that, yeah, like we potentially could have won the league if we had and since Pat is not there, it was harder for us because we couldn't rotate. We had to play players every single game, like Rice and Jorginho and all those guys. So I'm sure we're going to get a midfielder. The one I'd say that might not happen is a winger if you get a midfielder and a striker. Let's see. Why Madrid wants Saliba? No, I definitely know why Madrid wants Saliba. Saliba is the best defender in the world. I definitely know why they want Saliba. But him going, I don't expect him to go. City says with Saliba, Timber, Gabriel, and Calafiori, no team's defense is better than Arsenal on the planet Earth. Yeah, I think you're right. The defenses that I respect, Inter Milan, with Di Marco and all those guys, Dumfries as well, they're very good. They keep a lot of clean sheets, and I think Real Madrid also kept a lot of clean sheets last season. But overall, yeah, we don't have to even have a shot against us. Jack says, give your backline starting with Timber and Calafiori, and where are we playing Ben White? Ben White is a starter for me, so if Calafiori is in the team, I'd have Saliba and Gabriel for sure. I'm not going anywhere. Then on the right side, Ben White. I'm still going to say Calafiori because he's an out-and-out left-sided player. Timber can start some games. He can play in midfield. He can play on the right side some games and all that. But I want them to be used a lot throughout the team. So even if you sign Calafiori, remember, as I said with Man City, players are comfortable at Man City. You know why? Because everyone plays. So at the end of the season, you look at how many games people have played. You realize, oh, Walker played 30 games. Oh, Stones played 28. Oh, look, Diaz played 28 as well. Oh, Ake and Gvardiol also played 27 games. So that is what I want to see. I don't want like Ben White to have played 50 games and then Timber's played 10. No, I want by the end of the season, Timber's played 30, Tomiyasu's played 30, Ben White is featured in 30, even if they're replacing each other across the games, that is absolutely fine. I want them to be mixed up in terms of playing time. Cesar says, I like the partnership with Cozy. You guys are trying. I appreciate it. We started the podcast recently, but we've been working with Cozy since 2020. And yeah, it's very easy to do videos with him in terms of connection. So yeah, the podcast will be back tomorrow. Kipochit says Chiesa is available at around 20 to 25 million. Why don't we go for him as a backup for Saka Glenn? No. Like, he's been put in the market and there's no team that want him. So unless you're giving me for like 15 million, then maybe. But I don't know, man. Like, if you're talking about injured players, it's even worse than the ones that you've been talking about. But I see why. No problem with giving that opinion. Juventus wants that 25 million euros alone. But Chiesa is more of a left-sided player as well, more than a right-sided player, like left wing. How far is Calafiori deal and others? So I will recap that one. We need the goalkeeper to back up Rare because Ramsey will still leave. I'm sure. Yeah. If I didn't check out your comment, there was so many. But tomorrow, as always, same time. Let me answer that final question on how far Calafiori deal is. Let's recap it very quickly. This came from Fabrizio Romano. Arsenal have agreed terms with Riccardo Calafiori's contract until June 2029. That is a 5-year contract. Arsenal and Bologna are discussing over a fee as request remains around 50 million. Basel would receive 50% of that fee. This is from Core Sport. Bologna received a formal offer from Arsenal for Riccardo Calafiori last night. The monster offer includes achievable bonuses, with Arsenal hopeful for a rapid conclusion. So Arsenal want to get this done very quickly. I'm sure Arsenal want to finish it quickly so they can focus on other targets before preseason. And then this came from Mate Moreto saying new contracts between Arsenal and Bologna in the last few hours, 50 to 54 million euros. And then this is from Gazzetta Italia saying Riccardo Calafiori will go to Arsenal, full stop. 53 million transfer fee, 4 million per year salary. That is in euros. In terms of Kivia will potentially leave, according to Ryan Taylor Sport, if he does end up coming to Arsenal Calafiori, and that is expected. So thank you guys for watching. See you at the same time tomorrow. There'll still be another video today, and then tomorrow the podcast with Cozy, and then this particular live stream. But let's go and enjoy the Euros, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you on the next one.